I want to ask you about Adam Entis's reporting that he's just shared with us from the Washington Post that this goes the furthest we've seen to connecting President Putin of Russia to actually giving the directive to interfere in the U.S. election and to try to hurt Hillary Clinton. What's the White House's response to this?
Well, the president has said previously, and we've got confirmation now from Jay Johnson, from Adam Schiff, from Dan Coates, from Jim Comey, from Mike Rogers, that there's no evidence of collusion, number one, and number two, that this didn't have an impact on the electoral result. And I think it's very important to show no nexus has been proven between what Russia or any other foreign government tried to do and the actual election result. Really, the only person making that case prominently is Hillary Clinton. And you've got everyone saying that there is no nexus, that not a single vote was changed, and we're going to stand by that. We know that Donald Trump won fairly and squarely 306 electoral votes. It had nothing to do with interference.
We know that as well. But what about this new reporting that there are 36 high-level officials that say that they can connect President Putin with giving instructions to hack the DNC computers and to plant fake stories? What is the current White House doing about this?
Well, Allison, the president has said previously, and he stands by that, particularly as president-elect, that he would be concerned about anybody interfering in our democracy. We saw a lot of people interfering with our democracy by saying he couldn't win here at home. But I really am struck by former Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson's testimony earlier this week, which you covered extensively, where he seemed very frustrated that the DNC refused the help of the DHS because DHS knew that the DNC was vulnerable. The RNC, I'm sure, was vulnerable, but had those safeguards and protections in place and had a different result. And so it's very clear that even in the Obama administration, there was concern. There were actions trying to be taken. But the question for the DNC is, why were you so arrogant in not letting the Homeland Security of your own administration help you?
That's fine. But my question for you is, what is the White House, what is President Trump now doing to prevent Russia from doing this again?
Well, this report is new, and we'll discuss it with him later. But he's been very clear on the record that he believes in any type of numbers of measures to make sure that democracy flourishes and that our voter integrity is intact.
Such
he, in fact, has an entire commission on that.
Against Russia, what is he doing specifically to try to stop this?
Allison, I realize that we just like to say the word Russia, Russia to mislead the voters, and I know that CNN is aiding and abetting this nonsense as well, but you've asked him the same question 3 times now, and I'm answering it.
And you're not answering it, Kellyanne.
Yes, I am. He's the President of the United States.
And what's he doing?
He has said very clearly that he wants the voter integrity and the ballot integrity to be protected.
And what
action
action is he taking?
Any type of interference at this very moment, at this very second?
Yes.
Oh, yes, because we have nothing to say about Russian collusion or affecting the electoral outcome.
Kellyanne,
those rabbit holes did not bear fruit.
I understand what you're doing in terms of trying to talk about collusion.
I've answered the question 4 times.
You haven't told us what action is the White House doing to stop Russian interference in elections?
The White House the president has met with his national security team many times. He has an initiative or a commission on voter integrity, and he himself has used the power of the bully pulpit to express his resistance towards any type of outside interference. So, again, I've answered the question several times. This is an ongoing process. You're dealing with a very new report. So we will look at that as well as we do.
Fair enough. This is a new report, but the idea that Russia interfered has been obviously around since now we know before the election.
Yeah, Jay Johnson seemed very frustrated with his own DNC about it. I agree with you.
And in fact, he said that there was great concern that if they did anything openly, that they would challenge the integrity of the election process itself. And now, look, you've heard from this new report that President Obama was afraid that Vladimir Putin would up the ante, would ratchet it up. But I understand, you haven't read this report yet. That's fine this morning. But still, this has been going on for months. So the president talking about it, do you think that he's done enough to sending a signal to Russia to stop this?
I think the president has been very clear on how he feels about this issue and many others. But you know, Allison, he also has a very full roster. I know that CNN and others don't want to cover it. He just last week open up a $100 million investment in apprenticeship programs. 90% of people who go through these skills certification apprentice programs are employed in short order with an average of $60,000 salary. Where's the reporting on that? This week, just back here, Secretary Price and I met with Obamacare victims. They're real. They're suffering.
Yeah.
They've been left behind out of the Affordable Care Act. If you want their information, I'll provide it to them. You can interview them.
Yeah,
He's helping with job creation. The markets love his president.